Okay, so I've got 4 samples. I'm gonna follow a very respected knife maker called Jeremy from Simple Little Life. He's got dry ice basically, but when it comes to NITRO-V, he doesn't do that. So he says that he gets really great results, and I'm gonna follow that. So I have my aluminium plates ready. So I'm gonna have to mark these somehow so that I know which one is which. And the temperatures I'm going to go with are as follows. The temperature that Jeremy uses is 1066 centigrade. That's easy for me to remember because it's the Battle of Hastings. 1066, the Battle of Hastings. And so that's how I'm gonna remember that. What he does is he takes it up to 1066, he soaks it for 20 minutes, and then he quenches it on the aluminium plate. Maybe I just go 1046. So let's mark those so I know which one is which and get onto it. Now, one thing I have learned, even with carbon steel, just a few degrees makes a huge difference. It can be the difference of 2 or 3 points on the Rockwell scale. Okay, I've got to set this. Right, see how long it takes for that to warm up. That's after 18 minutes. Very close now. Okay. Right, we're getting very close now. Ooh, that's hot. Okay, it's a bit hard to film all this when I'm only operating with one camera. So I've just put the second one in, and now that one has got to have 20 minutes at 1056. Right. Well, let's just see what's happening here with the hardness tester. That feels a little different. Yeah, okay. I think that's biting in now. Yeah, that bites. So I'm just waiting now for the next one. 14 minutes to go for that one, so I'll be back with you again shortly. Alright, just got this out of here, and you can see this is the one with the 2 marks on it. Mm. 55 started biting, so and that's definitely biting. 60. So I don't know, guys. I think this might even be softer than this one. Yeah, that temperature was higher. Okay, will be interesting, very interesting to see how the next one goes. So I just got a situation here. Got to 12 minutes on the 3rd run, which is supposed to get up to 1066, and the kiln switched itself off. I tried resetting the circuit breakers but didn't work, so I don't know what's happened to it. I've got to figure that out. But what I did is I immediately took this one out of the kiln and put it in here and quenched it. So obviously it'd be interesting to see how that is, but obviously it's only had half the amount of time it's supposed to have, a little more than half. So that's a bit disappointing, but when this is cooled down I'll be back with you and we'll see what the result of that is, and then see if I can figure out what's happened to the kiln. Okay. Now all this oxidization looks a little different, but let's just have a look. Don't have much hope for this one. 40. 40's alright. Not as 45. 50 is, that's not much. 55, yeah, biting, so I don't know, 48, something like that. So that was a disaster. So let me talk a little bit about the kiln and why it stopped working the other day. What I figured it out was where the wires, the element wires, are coming out the back of the fire bricks and then go down into the guts of the kiln underneath. So it comes out of the relay and basically and back up to feed the element. Where the two wires were joined, I didn't have a proper insulator that it joins them, but it sort of forms this insulating connection between the element and the main wires going down and ultimately the main power source. And so that burnt out. So what I've done for now is I've got a much heavier connector, I should say. So I would imagine it draws some more ohms away from the system. In other words, it's a bit less efficient. It's using a bit more power to get the temperature right up to critical temperature. But you know, I live and learn with these things. So, but I'm easily getting this up to temperature. Yeah, so what I've got in the kiln at the moment is the piece that I stuffed up a couple of nights ago. I'm going to bring that up to critical temperature. So I'm going to let that go for 20 minutes. It's got about another 15 minutes to go. And then I'm going to leave that in the kiln, turn it off, and then just let that cool down, and I'm going to reheat treat this tomorrow. Yeah, so it's a bit of a long-winded process, but I guess it's really important if I want to get this NITRO-V to critical temperature and ultimately at its maximum Rockwell hardness. So if I could get this NITRO-V at somewhere around 60 Rockwell, I'd be absolutely over the moon with that. But I suspect it's going to take a bit more testing. More to come, and I'll see you again very soon. Yeah, pretty damn hard. That's 50, 55. Okay, started biting in. Well, I think it's about the same as this one. I'll go with 1055. To be honest, I think that one may be a little bit more. I reckon we're getting close to 60 now with this one. So I'm going to call it 60, but a bit hard to tell. Yep. Well, just do this one for good measure, but bites in really easy. It started biting in at around 50, and 55 it was biting a bit more, so I would say it's not more than 55 Rockwell, which is pretty poor. But that was brought up to 1076. As you can see, temperature, the higher it goes, the softer it gets. So it begs the question, if I was to come down another 10 degrees, would I get an even better result? But as you can see here, 1076 I get roughly 50 Rockwell, 1056 I get a little bit harder, 1046 I get a bit harder again. I'm guessing somewhere between 55 and 60. And this one is similar, but I do think it's just a little bit harder than that one. So there you go, the NITRO-V test. Now I don't think I'm completely finished with this test, because I really should come down another 10 degrees and see what happens. Well, hi everyone, it's the next day, and as I said yesterday, I suspect it's not the end of my series of heat treating exercises here. I probably should have done this first. I did a little bit of research on this NITRO-V, or a bit more research I should say, because I did have a look around. I came across Jeremy for Simple Little Life, and I followed his process, which wasn't bad to be honest. I'm pretty sure I got up close to a 60 Rockwell on those little test pieces, but ultimately it wasn't quite right what I was doing. Now, NITRO-V, as far as I'm aware, is produced by Jersey Steel Baron Company, and I went to their website and I found this information on heat treating NITRO-V, and they've got quite a bit of information on there, treating it with a cryogenic process and one without. So of course I don't have the means for cryogenic treatment, so this is the one I'm going to follow, and I have to put my glasses on for this. Now I'll read some of this out, it could be quite interesting for you. So this is hardening without cryo. Now this is the first thing they say. Knives should be cleaned by washing with dish soap to avoid nitrates, and then either placed into a foil pouch or coated with high temperature anti-scale decarburization, or heat treat with an oxygen-free heat heat treating equipment. The second thing they say is skipping stages such as preheating and equalizing will result in lower hardness, higher amounts of retained austenite, impaired stain resistance and other issues. Ramp as fast as possible between preheating and austenizing temperatures. Now they've got the preheating, austenizing and expected Rockwell prior to cryo treatment. So what they're saying is preheating, equalizing 1725 Fahrenheit, 940 C, and hold that for 20 minutes. Then the austenizing temperature is from 1900 F to 1037 C. Now it's interesting because yesterday when I did this, I treated this one to 1036 C, and I found it was the hardest one out of all of them. So it does lend itself to confirm what this is saying in here. Okay, so how I interpret this is the preheating and equalizing process is the kiln itself. So actually take it up to 1725. Well, let's just go with centigrade, because that's what I'm going to use here. Take it up to 940, hold that for 20 minutes, and then stick your steel in there, ramp it up to 1037, and then soak that for 15 minutes. So of course they're saying you're going to end up with a 62 Rockwell if you do all that. Now I'll put a link to this down in the information so that anyone interested can go and click directly on it. So it says here, temper at 149C for 2 hours twice to maintain a 62 Rockwell. And the higher temperatures that you temper at, the more your Rockwell hardness is going to get reduced. So it goes right up to 232 for 2 hours twice. You'll end up with a 56 Rockwell. Now it does depend on what you actually want to use the knife for. If you want it as a kitchen knife or something, generally they're a bit harder and a bit more brittle because you're going to do a lot finer work. You're not going to be chopping or doing some batoning or anything like that. So I'd say that's what you do. And then it's a bit of a trade-off. The higher you temper it out, the lower your Rockwell ends up being. And I would say a hunting knife or something like that, you might want to drop that down to 58 or 60. I'd say that'd be okay. Any softer and you get a really sharp edge but you can't hold it. So there you go. I just thought I'd share that with you, and hopefully you found that interesting. But click on the link below if you want to go and read that for yourself. So I think I'll leave it there. I think I'll get this edited and uploaded, and I'll call this round 1 of NITRO-V steel hardness testing. So hopefully in round 2 I'll get better results. So if you want to see all that happen, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications when I upload that. So I shall say bye for now, and I'll see you again very soon.